Hello, hello, good morning. Bree Sedano coming to you live today. We are going to talk about wealth killers, some low vibe states that money just leaks right through. So that's what we will be doing. I am a little excited to do it. I like talking about this sort of stuff. So, for those of you who are new, if this is your first time ever watching my video or ever catching me live, my name is Bree Sedano. I'm a personal finance expert, the founder from Sheep to Shark, and the work that I do is a little bit different than most financial gurus because we incorporate financial strategy, habits and actions, money mindset, emotional intelligence, and community all together. And Sheep to Shark is really devoted to helping women really wield their money powerfully. That's really like what we do here, and it's a financial game, but it's also like a personal power growth game. So that's a little bit about me. So if this is your first time, please say hello. If you're somebody who watches all the time, please say hello in the comments so that way I know you're here. If you have questions as you go, please feel free to ask. Even if you're watching the replay, I check in on the comments and answer them. Usually, I spend some time with it every day. And if you find value in this talk, please feel free to share it. All right. So let's get into it. So the wealth killers. So there are certain frequencies, and when I say frequencies, I mean like states, and you're gonna feel them in your emotions. Like, yeah, like different emotional states that will crush somebody's ability to earn, to have, to build wealth, to compound money. They're like momentum killers. So um, that's what we're gonna talk about today. So first I want to explain that money moves in different levels, right? So like if we think about like a low level, where money moves slowly, it's very painful, right? That's on one level. At the next level up with our relationship with money, we're going to see money move a little faster. We're going to see having money, we're going to see money starts to move easier up through the levels. And at each level, money moves a little faster. Money can get you around obstacles in life. Like, right? Like imagine if you were a person who doesn't have a car, who doesn't have enough wealth to own a car. Well, your options are you could walk or you could take a bus. Both are certain, they're base level. Like there's no like if you have a car, you get to drive or you get little literal freedom. That obstacle of space goes away, the obstacle of something being too far away, right? So if you don't have a car, your obstacle may be looking for work that's within walking distance or on a bus or whatever. Or if you have a car, that obstacle goes away. And if you have access to airports, you can work, like I can plan a retreat and go work from Mexico. I did that last year. I did a Fortuna retreat in May last year, and I did my work because I had resources to book the house for all my clients and to do all of that, right? Like I had the resources to be able to decide I want to do that, and then I got to make money, literally having the best week of my life, right? So where this gets jammed up is when we feel a certain amount of guilt or shame in our money. And when I talk about guilt, I'm not talking about remorse. I'm not talking about like I've done something terrible and I am sorry. I'm talking about that guilt that's like a little sticky, and it's like the guilt of not not being good enough or not meeting somebody's expectations or having debt when you shouldn't have debt, or feeling like you shouldn't charge, or you feeling like generally when somebody's in this kind of shame or guilt, the words that I will hear is like I feel bad. Like it's a flavor of bad, right? That's generally what's going to kill the wealth. Very it's somebody needs to have a very high level of like emotional self-awareness to come to see me and be like I'm in shame around this. Most of the time that's not the language I hear. It's like I get stuck. Like I can't take the actions. I know I should ask for a raise, but I don't. Is essentially it. And those there'll be like a stuckness, like an energetic stuckness. So I'm doing Raise Your Money Vibes next week, and Raise Your Money Vibes is an entire process that I'm going to go through with my clients. But I'm going to give you like a little taste of it because I think this work is really important, whether or not you come. So when we think about how our money belief system is formed, right? This is true of all belief systems. This is not just your financial belief system, but when you're a little kid, you're born, and everything that you learn about being a human basically happens like before you're 10 years old. Not every single thing, but you are basically a human about the time you're 10. Now, before that, before our like when we're little kids, our conscious mind isn't really on board yet. It's not developed yet. So we're just a subconscious being. We're like a little sponge, and you'll see that little kids like can't be trusted. They don't like, you were like, were you going to eat that because that's not food? Were you going to climb that because you're going to die? Certainly that is not for climbing. Like, were you going to stick your tongue into that light socket there, kid? Bad idea, right? And it's because they don't have that conscious awareness to be like, let's do this. So that's why little kids are a lot of work, right? So like suicide prevention all day, every day. This kid is just going to do dangerous stuff, and it's because they're just in their subconscious. They don't have any, everything's just like a fun game. And so when we're little and we're learning about our relationship with money, I want you to think about all of the places you get these messages from, right? So when we think, about messaging that you got that is just going to be normal to you in in your subconscious mind because you picked it up when you were a kid, your mom and dad, right? Your extended family, your friends, your neighborhood, your classmates, TV, radio. If you're in a religious community or like an ethnic community, right? Like you're going to get a lot of messages about money. So when we think about that, so like for example, um, some of the messages, and what ends up happening is these messages all conflict. So when we think about the messages that we get, like you may have gotten different messages about money from your mom and your dad. Like, so for example, I'll tell you, my mom always told me, she was like, you go get your own education. You don't want to have to depend on a man. Okay, cool. So my mom was growing up during the time of like when the feminist movement started to really like, make some steam. Women started working, right? And so my mom was actually a stockbroker for a while on Wall Street, like in the 90s. And a part of what motivated her was like, you be independent. You don't get stuck, right? Don't get stuck because of money, was like what she was telling me. Where my dad, that was never a threat for him because he was a man, or he's a man. He is still currently a man. And so his ideas about money were like, go to school, get some, like get a job that's stable. And his messages to me were like, go be a social worker, a teacher, something like with good benefits and something stable. Okay, cool. So the messages that I got were different. My mom was like, go out and get that money, girl. And my dad was like, get something stable and make sure that you're safe and taken care of. These are conflicting messages. So if I feel on some level that I need to meet both of their expectations, I can't because it doesn't make sense, right? So I mean, it's possible. There's certain, it's possible, but look at when we keep layering these things in. So look, on my mom's side of the family, they were very middle class, you know, very under the radar type money situation. Bought a house, lived. My grandparents bought a house, lived there till they died. My dad's side of the family had more money. There was more wealth. There was more affluence, and so you could see, like, so when I would go and hang out with like my dad's side of the family, there were talks of stocks at the tables. Like there were talks of wealth. There was talks of these things. Where on my mom's side of the family, it was talks of buying cars or not buying something or paying credit card bills or something like a whole different frequency, a whole different resonance of what money means, right? And so my grandmother on my mom's side had some depression era stuff, and she would tell me, and she had like cash and envelopes, and she knew she was good at money. This lady, my mom's mom, and she would pay stuff with her credit card, put the money aside, get the points. I think she ended up buying herself a Cadillac like late in life with I don't think she paid for the entire thing with credit card points, but like she played the game. She clipped the coupons, she did the things. You know, where my dad's side of the family, that was never a discussion because we were talking about stocks, we were talking about interest earned, we were talking about, you know, life insurance and stuff like that. Like as a kid, I could have told you what a dividend was probably when I was like 7 years old because that was a conversation that I was having, right? And so look, we look at these different layers. But also, when I would go to school, I would get different messages. So in school, like I remember having cheap sneakers and the kids picking on me about it. Like I remember that being a thing and feeling so poor, so inadequate for the lack of coolness of my sneakers, right? And like so that's a layer. And I remember that when we would go hang out at some places, I would feel very like belonging. And when we would go other places that were a little fancier, I would feel less than. I would feel like maybe I didn't belong. And so I'm telling you this because I want you to understand the dynamics of all of these messages that we get, right? And then let's add in TV. So then I grew up watching like I remember being a teenager and watching Clueless. I don't know if you guys ever remember that movie Clueless with Alicia Silverstone, and she has this massive closet. And I was probably like maybe 10, 11, no, maybe 12. I don't know. Like I was like middle school age when that movie came out. And I remember feeling both envy for her closet and disgust. Like I remember being like, oh my goodness, that would be so cool. And that's gross. Like it was both. And so as we pick up all these messages, sometimes they conflict. Sometimes they are there you don't have one set of coherent like beliefs or ideas like and so the ideas like conflict so like from my own story so I see like all right so my dad's like get a stable job with good benefits my mom's like make enough money to not need a man right and that they don't have to conflict but in my mind they do right and on one side you know of the family, we're talking about wealth and investments and like dividends and interest. And on the other side, we're talking about credit card payments and saving for a rainy day and clipping coupons. And they're two different levels, right? And so we see that this all starts to get like a little like stuck, right? And on one side, so I went to Catholic school where there was a lot of nobleness in poverty, right? There was a lot of I don't know, character development. Like they promoted some of this like it's at St. Margaret's where I went to school, like sometimes they wouldn't turn the heat on in winter. Like I live in Connecticut, it's just cold. And it was just like a weird set of things. And where like in that education standpoint, like I almost felt like money was wrong. And then when I went to college, I got a whole lot of different belief structures about capitalism and systems and equality. My degree is in urban studies. So like which is really like a degree in looking at things from different levels and complex problem solving. And so then you see the effect of money in these systematic levels, right? And it all plays in. And then when I was I don't know 18 or 19, I studied art in Rome. I was like I did a study abroad and I studied art and I remember learning all of this history about the Vatican and everything. And that to me was so incongruent with the education that I got at St. Margaret's that it thoroughly grossed me out. Thoroughly grossed me out. I was like, wait a second, like we're getting messages that having money is wrong and you know rich people can't go to heaven and like all of this stuff like at St. Margaret's while in the meantime you go and you look at the art that's there at the Vatican and you're like this doesn't make sense. This is weird. And so all of these conflicting sets like all of this is in your psyche around your relationship with money. It's all there. Like and this is my particular story, but you have your story. Like you have the stuff that you learn from your you know each one of your parents, your siblings if they're like older than you, your extended family, one side to the other, you know, your neighborhoods, your communities. And so this is where if we don't have one set of expectations for ourselves, everything feels bad. So look, now that you see some of the belief structures that I was working with that I had to take down. So for a long time, based on some of my college years education, I would think that like any mass accumulation of money was wrong, right? Like myself in college would have been judging like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk real hard. And it's because I would have believed that that level of accumulation was just ungodly, was filthy, was gross. Okay, well, I also really want to have a big impact. So that idea that their level of impact is wrong because it comes with a financial reward eventually would have slowed me down. I've cleaned that belief up since then. But this is when we start looking at all of it, we can start to see, all right, so if I want to make $1 million, the part of me that was educated at St. Margaret's is going to be like, dude, you're not going to get into heaven. The part of me that's like was, that my mom had an influence on was going to be like, yes. The part that was raised by my dad is going to be like, well, what's the risk here? Are you going to be safe? Are you going to be okay? Like, are you going to have health insurance? Are like, you know, and so you start to see like, my, the part of me that was raised, that was contributed to by like my mom's family is going to be like a little, hmm, this, like a little leery about it. Where my dad's family is probably going to cheer me on a little bit, a little bit louder. And all of this plays a role in how I feel about these things because all of these rules, all of these ideas, all of these belief structures are there in my psyche. And like when I go to put my energy through them, it's like a little ping pong, or a pinball, like a little pinball machine. And when we're not meeting the expectations, we will feel ashamed. And so when I talk about shame, it's the feeling of like feeling unworthy of love, unworthy of belonging. And so shame is a man-made construct. It is and it's we're working with the same brain hardware that we've had for like 10,000 years. And so when we think back like 10,000 years ago, there were certain things that needed to be done to stay alive. And at this point in time, people are living in like family tribes, small communities, and having one chief, one king, one set of belief structures. You could know what was in bounds and out of bounds for your actions, right? Once humans started to evolve and our communities started to get bigger and started to grow and our families started to change, that ability to have one main point of reference for behavior acceptability went away. But our brain still feels like, dude, that's dangerous because a zillion years ago, like if you weren't behaving in accordance with like the rules, you would literally be like shunned to the woods to die alone, right? Because humans are social creatures. To send a human off by itself, it's like certain death, and it's probably a terrible death, to be honest. So shame, that comes in is like a guardrail against us being excluded from the rest of humans. So like that's what it does for you on the good side is it's like, all right, listen, I know you're real mad about this. We're not gonna murder that dude because then we're gonna have to go to jail. Like we're gonna be so bad at being humans, we're not allowed. We're gonna not be allowed to human in with other humans. We're gonna have to go human with the separate humans that have all done super bad things, right? And so shame kind of is a social construct to keep behavior into a certain place, right? And guilt lets you know that you're getting close to shame. So you're gonna be like, I don't know, I want to charge for that, but I feel guilty, right? And so this is what so I talk to ladies all day who are jammed up in their money. And sometimes they're like, oh, I think I deserve a raise. I think I deliver more value than I'm being paid for. And I feel bad. I when I have money, I feel bad and I get rid of it. I give it away. I pay for stuff for my kids. I pay for stuff for my siblings. I pay for stuff. I take my friends out to dinner. I get rid of the money. Sometimes it's like I want to show up and really be big and really give my gifts to the world and do this, but the idea that I'd have to set a price or I'd have to negotiate that makes me feel bad. And so this, you know, and the bad feeling really happens because you can never meet all of those expectations. So if you're somebody who perpetually kind of feels a little gross in your relationship with money, chances are that layers of expectations that you never, like, when these things were installed, you didn't have the conscious mind capacity to be like, this belief structure is stupid. I'm not going to integrate that. Like we're going to just watch this happen. Mm. Like when we're growing up, your conscious mind's not on board. So all of these, conflicting layers of ideas, beliefs, expectations are all in there. So in Raise Your Money Vibes, what we're going to do is we're going to start to unpack this. We're going to start to really, I mean, the workbook pages for Raise Your Money Vibes are, it's they're thorough, I guess is the best way to put it, where you start to really question these beliefs. What did I learn from my dad about earning and spending and investing and debt? What did I learn from my mom? Oh, all right. And then you start to see where this stuff all conflicts. And then you're like, oh my goodness, I'm wired for pain. And then what we're going to do there, once we have this stuff kind of laid out, we're going to figure out like what our own source of values is, what it is, the things that we value on our own. And then we're going to start to look at setting one set of rules, one set of expectations around our relationship with money. So that way we can feel good. Right. So, like, when I took away the belief that it was like spiritually wrong to have money, I made more money. And actually, now I believe that money is a result of service, and I'm devoted to the things that I do, like, fully and completely. Like, I am devoted to women living their fullest lives, women wielding their money powerfully, like, and I watch my clients get their money stuff together and have a whole different level of power, and that's like, I'm devoted to that. And if I was to let my money junk get in the way, I would serve less people. I'd be smaller. I wouldn't do as much as I could if I was jammed up around receiving the money, the exchange for that, right? And like when I believed that that money was a limited resource, there was a lot of guilt that came with that. Because then if I had more, then it wasn't fair and I was taking it away from somebody. And and I don't believe that money's limited. Money is an unlimited resource. As we get more and more humans, more and more money comes in. Money is created from value that's put into the world. Money is the representation of value. So we see that as more and more value comes into the world, more and more money is created. And there's an infinite amount of power and value that we can serve each other with. There's more than enough. And so when I believed that money was like a limited, scarce resource, everything felt bad. It was like, well, if I have more than I need, then somebody else doesn't have what they need. But like, I don't believe that anymore, and I'm able to make more money and I'm able to serve at a bigger capacity because of it. So when we start to really look at like what are our values around these things, and what are, and what's bullshit, what's nonsense, what doesn't make sense, what beliefs, ideas are just really problematic, you start to get clear on that. And then what ends up happening is we feel we can start to then be congruent with ourselves. So like if I'm running my energy through this like ping pong of like, you know, this maze, this ping pong of conflicting beliefs, I'm going to perpetually feel bad, and it's going to slow me down, because the way that shame and guilt really like show up in the physical realm is that like we don't do the things. We feel bad. Sometimes people will do the things and then undo them. We call that self-sabotage. And it's really like it's just your brain like protecting you from the idea that you might not be accepted if you were to do things this way. But look, the truth is at this point, we don't need shame to be like the rule. Like, we get to pick, all right, this is how I want to behave in my relationship with money. This is where I'm going. This is what I believe a healthy relationship with debt looks like for me. This is what I believe a healthy relationship with earnings looks like for me. And when you know those things and you have them listed out and you have and they're in accordance with your values, you are so much more powerful. So much more powerful because all of those ding 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 ding, that all goes away. That all stops. You look at your brain and you're like, these belief structures, they gotta go. I can't get anywhere with all of these mental obstacles and having to feel bad about it. So when we look at these and we see what's there and then we're like, all right, we're clearing this stuff up. Here's what I do want. That changes your relationship with money because then the mental structures that make you feel bad about about earning more, about saving more, about having more, about whatever, they cease to exist, and you're like, this is who I am, this is what I want to be congruent with, this is the level of money and wealth that I actually truly desire. And if you want more, tell yourself the truth about it, because that's what pushes us to grow, that's what pushes us to serve, that's what pushes us to help more people in whatever capacity you help people. That's the thing. So anyways, that is my talk for today. So really it's just shame and guilt and the ru- you know outdated rules, you know, expectations, that stuff is really heavy in your relationship with money. So if this talk really hit for you, next week we're doing Raise Your Money Vibes. It's $99. It's a two-part small group coaching. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take you through an entire process around this. So it's not really content. I just gave you a lot of the content for free, but you're going to do the work and you're going to come out on the other side like feeling liberated from this stuff. You're going to feel clear. You're going to feel congruent. You're going to feel, like, yes, this is what I want. No, this is what I don't want. Oh, I see that old idea and it's stupid, and I'm not going to feel bad about that anymore. This is who I am in my relationship to money, and you're going to watch your financial power go up when you get rid of the expectations that cause the shame and guilt. You're going to see your income go up. You're going to see your ability to have money go up. You're going to see some of your patterns around like feeling bad, getting rid of money, doing anything like that. You're going to watch them drop away, because we want your relationship with money to be kind of clean and clear, so that way you can use it powerfully. If it's all ding, pinball-y and you can't get anywhere with it, you're not going to be able to use that money powerfully to create in your life. And that's the goal. So that's what we want to do there. Um, and I'll just take a couple extra minutes too. So if you want to work with me, if you're looking to work with me in some capacity, I'll just do a quick rundown of like the ways that I work with clients. So like for free, you can, and all of the links to everything I'm going to talk about are all in the description for this video. So if you just want to digest free content, you can follow me on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, and I have an email list that gets a lot of free content. It's all sheep to shark, and then there's a link to the financial freedom quiz that will give you some context about what is a wealth journey. Next week we're doing Raise Your Money Vibes. So that is a two-part small group coaching course. We're going to go through the process that we discussed thoroughly in this video. For people who want to like kind of dip their toe in and see what my courses are like, or see what my content's like, sharkschool.online has a full library of financial resources, and the price points on these go from anywhere between free, up to $1,000. And they're different topics. Some is very practically based, like Find Your Bleed, the invisible system. Some is like mindset based, like you know Money Mindset Boot Camp, things like that. Um, and so that's a great place to kind of dip your toe and take one step in a financial journey. If you have consumed my work for a while and you're like, I definitely want to go, I definitely want to have a different, like, I definitely am here for a journey. Cash Confident is the place where where we're getting started. So that's the place where we learn how to spend with intention. That's the place where we learn how to set up structures, like financial structures, financial systems. Um, there's courses and work on paying off credit card debt, learning how to save, right? So all of these things are there. We do, and in Cash Confident, it's a year-long program. And so we do financial strategy, we do money mindset, we do emotional intelligence, we work on our habits and our behaviors and our actions. and we also have a community there. So that's great for the person who knows that they're like, no, I'm doing the entire, I'm going for it. I don't want to dip my toe in. I want the full immersion. So there's coursework and there's coaching, right? So like actually in an hour, I'm going to be doing a, money mentorship call in the Cash Confident community. Um, then we have Limitless Wealth. So Limitless Wealth is for women who are already earning six figures, either in their businesses or like in a salary, in a not, it doesn't have to be salary, but like in a career type position. And those ladies are looking for next level. So some are looking for like a next very big promotion. Some are looking to up level their businesses. And that's for the place where we get to where like what got you here won't get you there. And so that's a full upgrade of like your identity around like a full like life identity. We do a lot of mastering energetics around wealth, around leadership, around masculine and feminine. We do a lot of like just really like loving and accepting of ourselves, because that is remarkably tied to the amount of wealth that one person can actually handle. And then we have some accountability, and we put in next level wealth building structures. So that's when we're looking at like diversifying our income streams and really taking that, supercharging our savings and doing all of that to like the next level. Um, and so that's a year-long program. And I like to talk to people um, um, for that. So there's a sales call. So you would talk to me, and we'll find out what's going on for you, whether or not Limitless Wealth is going to be awesome for you. And then my highest level of service is Paradigm Shift, and that is private coaching with me one-on-one. And so Paradigm Shift is really for somebody who's looking to make a lot of big changes in their relationship with money fast. Um, and it's funny, Paradigm Shift, people hire me sometimes if their money situation is tangled or deteriorated and they need to get back in a good way about it. Sometimes people hire me to go to their next level. And whatever it is it's whatever it is. We do a Paradigm Shift is like kind of deep work. We work on, deep subconscious beliefs. We work on deep, energy, feelings, stuff like that. And so that's all one-on-one. Um, and so that's what we do there. So the results in Paradigm Shift aren't like there's not one set. That's a thing. That's like people hire me to do whatever, like to get them ready for whatever result in their financial life that they're looking for. So it's just a way to do it fast, right? It's just a way to do it fast. So that's my talk for today. I love you. I appreciate you, and thank you for hanging out with me.